Ladies and gentlemen, we'd kind of like to get started here now. We really appreciate you coming out for the recognition of our veterans and our Blue Star, Gold Star families. Going to have a little entertainment afterwards, but first, we're missing a purse. Apparently it's about this big and brown and black. And when the chairs were moved from over there to over here, it got slightly lost. So it's got to be floating around here somewhere. Good. There you go, Claire Lee. Well, it's my pleasure to introduce the lady who's behind all this, and that is Diane Marvin. And Diane put this together because they were unable to have Evelyn Sharp Days this year, and she wanted to do something to honor our veterans. So I'm going to turn it over to Diane now.
Thank you so very much. I'm very appreciative of having the opportunity to work with the Valley County Historical Society and Steph and Rosalie and Kay I met this morning in Belois, and there's just a lot of people who need to be thanked, for this to occur. As Steph alluded to, I come up here every year to help support a day or days that help us to remember Evelyn Sharp. And this year they had some issues with the runway, I understand, out at the airport. And so the chamber decided that they didn't think they could have an Evelyn Sharp Days. Well, I'd already started working on this Veterans Appreciation, and so they said, fine, go ahead. And so that's why we all find ourselves together here today. And I'm just so pleased there are so many of you, and I hope I get a chance to get around and to meet you. Now, this all started out because I knew of Gold Star mothers, who are, of course, mothers and sisters, as I understand it, whose son or daughter has been lost during a war or a military conflict. It is so fortunate here in this area we have no Gold Star mothers. I'm sure, with World War II that was the case. Well, I know it is because I read the Org Quiz every week, and what happened before, is all that sometimes there are references to families who have lost. But at least currently you don't have any Gold Star mothers. Like what I said is good. I'm thankful for that. But so then I heard about the Blue Star mothers. And for those of you that don't know, they are the mothers, and they always, it seems now, include the sisters too, who have sons or daughters, grandsons, granddaughters who are in the military or have been in the military. So, and then not wanting to exclude fathers or the male, the gender of male here, I thought, well, let's just invite everybody, and whoever considers themselves family, have them come. And so it's just really, really nice to have you all be here. I want to read you just a little bit of what I found on the internet, and I hope this is true. It's the history of the Blue Star banner tradition. Oh, and by the way, if you don't have a banner, they're on a sheet of paper that's on the doors. And if you don't have one, there's a form over there for you to fill out, and I'll give that to Barb Ronzo, and then she will take care of seeing that the American Legion gives you that banner or that flag. Okay, this is what it says. The Blue Star flag, as created was created in 1917, World War I. People hung it in their windows to denote that a member of the family was in the armed forces. The Blue Star banner was designed and patented by World War I Army Captain Robert L. Quisner of the 5th Ohio Infantry, who had 2 sons serving on the front line. The flag quickly became the unofficial symbol of a child in service. On September 24, 1917, an Ohio congressperson read the following into the congressional record. The mayor of Cleveland, the Chamber of Commerce, and the governor of Ohio have adopted this service flag. The world should know of those who give so much for liberty. The dearest thing in all the world to a father and a mother, their children. After that, the banners caught on quickly and adorned the front windows of homes across the nation. I have a neighbor who has 2 stars in her banner on her window because of a son and a son-in-law who are both serving in Iraq and Afghanistan. Also during World War I, the Blue Star became gold. See, I always thought the Gold Star was before the Blue Star, but that's not true. The Blue Star became gold if a service member was killed or died in active duty. The Gold Star Mothers of America came from this group. And by the way, this weekend is the nationwide observance of Gold Star Mothers. And that's another reason. Oh, Lori Bellhumer. Lori, where are you? Lori's the one who gave me this idea. She's very active back in, don't tell me, Lori, Huntington, Massachusetts. And she's the one that told me about this and gave me the idea. Since World War II, the Blue Star service banners have become popular for display by families with other loved ones serving in the armed forces other than sons or daughters. The service of cousins, nieces, nephews, brothers, sisters is now proudly acknowledged. So that gives you a little bit of history and background, and I think it's just a wonderful way for those of us who do not have relatives in the military to be able to acknowledge and show our appreciation. I know from working with the Army and the Air Guard in Lincoln, which is where I live, that the families are extremely, extremely important to the service people. And so you all need to be honored and appreciated just as much as the young men like Mike here, who just severed, or what's the right word, Mike? When you retired, thank you. Retired from the military on September 1st of this year after a career in that armed service. I'd like to start back with, I think this is probably not right, but I'd like to know if anyone has an association with a veteran of World War I. I know that goes back a long, long ways. Okay, and Lori, who is that? What's the relationship?
My father was in the Army in World War I.
I'm sorry?
My father was in the Army in World War I.
Your father was in the Army, okay? World War I. Anyone else?
My grandfather.
Okay, and what branch of service?
He was in the Army.
Army, okay, yes?
My father was in the Army.
Okay, Army, father. Anyone else? Yes,
I had an
Sam.
uncle who served as a truck driver, moving ammunition.
Okay, in World War I. And uncle, Sam's uncle.
I had a father that was in the cavalry right after World War.
Okay.
1920.
Okay. A father after
Cavalry at Fort Royal. Yes, cavalry. Yeah, cavalry.
the cavalry.
That
Okay.
uniform was here.
Anyone else? World War I or shortly thereafter? Okay, World War II. Yes. Father, and could you give the branch? Okay, father and Army. Yes.
I had 2 uncles and a cousin. The 2 uncles were in the Army. I'm not sure if it's because my cousin was confused while I was
2 cousins, and no, 2 uncles and a cousin. The 2 uncles were in the Army. The cousin was killed during the war, and I think it was the Army. Okay. Anybody else in World War II?
And my 2 oldest brothers were in the Army. One in the Pacific, one in Germany. Brother-in-law was in the Army, and another brother-in-law in the Merchant Marine.